everyone. Today we are going to study about Delhi Sultanate. This is the class 4BA part 1 and paper 2nd. Today we will study about the first dynasty of Delhi Sultanate, which is called Slave or Mamluk dynasty. At first we will study about the first ruler of Slave dynasty, which is called Qutbuddin Aibak. He was the founder of Slave or Mamluk dynasty. He was the general of Ghorid king Muizzuddin Muhammad Ghori. So let's start. At first we will study about his early life. Qutbuddin al-Aibak from 1206 AD to 1210 AD. Qutbuddin Aibak was born in 1115 AD in Turkestan. His name variously transliterated as Qutb al-Din Aibak or Qutb-ul-Din Aibak or Qutbuddin Aibak. He was general of the Ghorid king Muizzuddin Ghori. He was in charge of the Ghorid territory in northern India, and after Muizzuddin's death, he became the ruler of an independent kingdom that evolved into the Delhi Sultanate ruled by Mamluk dynasty. He came from Turkestan and belonged to a Turkish tribe called Aibak. The word Aibak is a Turkish word which is made by two words. The first one is I and the second one is Bak. I means moon and Bak means Lord. So the word Aibak means is the Lord of Moon. Lord of Moon. The word Aibak also transliterated as Aibak or Aibak. Aibak or Aibak. He was, as a child, was separated from his family and taken to the slave market of Nishapur. There Qazi Fakhruddin Abdul Aziz Kufi. Fakhruddin Abdul Aziz Kufi. Fakhruddin Abdul Aziz Kufi, who was a descendant of the noted Muslim theologian Abu Hanifa. Abu Hanifa was purchased him. Aibak was treated affectionately in the Qazi's household and was educated with Qazi's son. He learned archery and the horse riding besides Quran recital. The Qazis or one his son sold Aibak to a merchant who in turn sold the boy to the Ghorid Sultan Muizzuddin in Ghazni. After being admitted to the Sultan's slave household, Aibak's intelligence and kind nature attracted the Sultan's attention. Once, when the Sultan bestowed gifts upon his slaves, Aibak distributed his share among the servants. Impressed by this act, the Sultan promoted his to a higher rank. Aibak later rose to the important position of the Amir-e-Akhur. Amir-e-Akhur, which means officer of the royal stable. During the Ghorid conflicts with the Khwarezmian ruler Sultan Shah, Aibak was responsible for the general maintenance of the horses as well as their fodder and equipments. One day, while foraging for house fodder, he was captured by Sultan Shah's scouts and was detained in the iron cage. After the Ghorid defeated Sultan Shah, Muizzuddin saw him in the cage and was deeply touched by his desperate condition. After he was released, the Sultan's great favored him. No information is available about Aibak's subsequent assignment until the First Battle of the Tarain fought in India in 1191 AD. Now we will look at this slide. There are some important points about his life. So let's start reading 25th June from 1206 AD to 1210 AD, and the title. He got so many titles like as Pilbaks, Lakhbaks, Quran Khwa, Hatim II. He got Pilbaks title because he was the officer of the royal stable, and Lakhbaks for because he was used to donate so much money, so that's why he called Lakhbaks, and Quran Khwa because he was the first who started read Quran in a systematic way. That's why he called Quran Khwa, and Hatim II for his kindness. He was the predecessor Muhammad of Ghor, Sultan Muizzuddin, and the successor of Aram Shah. Sorry, this is Shah. He belongs to dynasty Mamluka, and his death in 1210 AD at the age of 16. Burial Anarkali Bazar, Lahore, and religion Islam. After the Ghurid victory in Second Battle of Tarain in 1192, Muizzuddin made Aibak in charge of his Indian territories. Aibak expanded the Ghurid's power in northern India by conquering and raiding several places in the Chahmana, Gahdwala, Chalukya, Chandela, and other kingdoms. When Muizzuddin died in 1206 AD, Aibak fought with another former slave general, Tajuddin Ildiz, for control of Ghurid territory in northwestern India. During this campaign, he advanced as far as Ghazni, although he later retreated and set up his capital at Lahore. He nominally acknowledged the suzerainty of Muizzuddin's successor, Ghiyasuddin Mahmud, who officially recognized him as the ruler of India. His career in India can be divided into three phases. The first one is officer in charge of some of Sultan Muizzuddin's territory in northern India from 1192 AD to 1206 AD, and the second one is as an informal sovereign who controlled Muizzuddin's former territory as a Malik and Sipasalar of Delhi and Lahore from 1206 AD to 1208 AD. And the third one is as a sovereign ruler of an officially independent kingdom in India from 1208 AD to 1210 AD. Now we will talk about his work as a Ghurid Sultan's subordinate. First Battle of Tarain in 1191. Aibak was one of the generals of Ghurid army that was defeated by the forces of the Chahmana ruler Prithviraj III at the first Battle of Tarain in India, and the second Battle of Tarain, which was fought in 1192, where the Ghurids emerged victorious. He was in charge of the general dispositions of Ghurid army and kept close to Sultan Muizzuddin, who had placed himself at the center of the army. After his victory at Tarain, Muizzuddin assigned the former Chahmana's territory to Aibak, who was placed at Kohram. It is present-day Gohram in Punjab, India. The exact nature of his assignment is not clear. Minhaj describes it as an Iqta. Fakre Mudabbir calls it a commands Sipasalar, and the Hasan Nizami states that Aibak was made the governor Ayalat of Kohram and Samana. Now we will talk about his initial conquest in Doab. In 1192, he took control of Meerut and Baran. It is modern Bulandshahr, from where he later launched attacks against the Gahdwala's kingdom. He also took control of Delhi in 1192, where he initially retained the local Tomra ruler as a vassal. In 1194, he took control over the Delhi. Now we will talk about his war against Gahdwalas. In 1194, Aibak as a general of Ghurid led the vanguard of his army at the Battle of Chandabar, which resulted in the defeat of the Gehadwala king Jayachanda. Other campaigns. In 1197, Aibak defeated the Chalukyas' army at Mount Abu, and in 1197 and 98, Aibak conquered Badaयूं in present-day Uttar Pradesh. And his next campaign in 1198 to 1999, he captured Chhantrawal and Kannauj. In 1202 AD, Aibak besieged Kalinjar, an important fort of the Chandela kingdom of central India. After the death of Muizuddin, according to Minhaj Tabaqat-e-Nasri, Aibak had conquered territory up to the frontiers of Ujjain in the south. However, the Ghorid control was not equally effective in all these areas. In some of these places, such as Gwalior and Kalinjar, the Ghorid control had weakened or even ceased to exist. Now we will study about his recognition as a ruler of Hindustan. According to Tajul Masis, a contemporary chronicler by Hasan Nizami suggested that Muizuddin appointed Aibak as his representative in India after his victory at Tarain. Hasan Nizami also states that the Ilayat governorship of Kohram and Samana was entrusted to Aibak. But another Fakhr-e-Mudabbir, another contemporary chronicler, stated that Muizuddin formally appointed Aibak as the viceroy of his Indian territory only in 1206 AD, when he was returning to Ghazni after suppressing the Khokars rebellion. According to this chronicler, Aibak was promoted to the rank of Malik and appointed their apparent Wali-Ahd of the Sultan's Indian territories. One another historian, K. Nizami, theorized that Sultan Muizuddin never appointed Aibak as his successor in India. The slave general acquired his position after the Sultan's death through use of diplomacy and military power. The Sultan's unexpected death left three of his main slave generals, Aibak, Taj al-Din Aldiz and Nasir ad-Din Qabacha, in position of power. During his last year, the Sultan was disappointed in his family and his chiefs and trusted only his slaves, whom he thought of as his sons and successors. At the time of Sultan's death, Aibak had his headquarters at Delhi. The citizens of Lahore requested him to assume sovereign power after the Sultan's death, and he moved his government to Lahore. He informally ascended the throne on 25th June 1206 AD, but his formal recognition as a sovereign ruler happened much later in 1208 to 1209 AD. Now we will talk about his death and legacy. After being recognized as a ruler of India, Aibak focused on consolidating his rule in the territory already under his control rather than conquering new territories. In 1210, he fell down from the horse while playing Chaugan, a form of polo on horseback, and died instantly when the pommel of saddle pierced his ribs. This is the picture to show his death. This is Aibak, who fell down from the horse. It creates by a modern artist impression of the accident that caused Aibak's death. And this is the picture of his tomb, which is situated in Anarkali Bazaar in Lahore. That one also the tomb of Qutubuddin Aibak, which is situated in Anarkali Bazaar in Lahore. Now we will talk about his cultural contribution. The construction of the Qutub Minar in Delhi started during Aibak's reign. Aibak was also a patron of literature. Fakhr-e-Mudabbir, who wrote Adab ul Harb, Etiquettes of War, dedicated his book of genealogy to Aibak. The composition of Hasan Nizami, Tajul Masir, which was completed during the reign of Iltutmish, probably began during Aibak's reign. He constructed Qubbatul Islam Mosque in Delhi and the Arai Din Ka Jhopra Mosque in Ajmer. This is the picture of Qutub Minar. I think that's all for today, and thanks to all for listening me carefully. If you have any suggestion or question, you can ask or put them in comment box. Thanks to all.